Base launch trajectory countdown net. Pad is clear.
10, 9, 8,
Launch auto sequence
7,
has started.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Stage separation confirmed. Dragon, separation confirmed. Stage 1 is transonic. Landing legs have deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed. Falcon 9 is in startup.
And there's that call out that Falcon 9 is in startup. This means that the flight computers have taken over the countdown and the rocket is on internal power. In just a few moments, we'll hear confirmation from our launch director.
SpaceX launch director, go for launch.
And as you just heard, the launch director has given the final go to proceed for tonight's launch. So let's sit back and watch as Falcon 9 takes our last 54 V1.5 Starlink satellites into space.
30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, engines full power, and liftoff of SpaceX Falcon 9. Go Falcon, go Starlink. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40 from the Cape at 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
And there you heard that call out that Falcon 9 is supersonic, which means that the rocket is traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Max Q.
And there's that call out for max Q. This is the point at which the vehicle experiences the greatest amount of external stresses as it descends through the Earth's atmosphere. We're about a minute away from a series of events: MECO, stage separation, SES-1, and fairing separation. MECO, or main engine cutoff, is where all 9 of the Merlin or M1D engines on the first stage shut down. This is followed by stage separation, which is when the first and second stages separate. Then we have SES-1, or second engine start 1, where we light the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. And lastly, we'll have fairing separation, which is when the 2 fairing halves separate and fall away from stage 2. So keep an eye out for these events, which will happen in quick succession.
Main engine cutoff. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
And there we had MECO, followed by stage separation and SES-1. Coming up shortly will be fairing separation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we heard and saw those 2 fairing halves separating and falling away from the second stage. Both of the fairing halves that flew on tonight's mission are flight proven, with one half flying for the 9th time and the other flying for its 10th. And we will be attempting to recover both fairing halves using our recovery vessel, Doug. On your screen right now is a view of our MVAC engine at the very bottom of the second stage, carrying our Starlink satellites to orbit.
Both vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
Currently, the first stage is on its way back to Earth towards our drone ship, a short fall of gravitas. Now, this MVAC engine will continue its burn for another couple of minutes, and you can watch the velocity increasing at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. For those of you who are just joining us, we had an on-time liftoff at 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Both vehicles are still on a nominal trajectory.
Tonight's Starlink mission marks SpaceX's 47th launch of the year and 246th mission to date. Now, on your screen right now is a view of our MVAC engine on the second stage, currently carrying our Starlink satellites into orbit. From time to time, we may get views of our first stage as it descends back to Earth.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
The 54 satellites on tonight's mission will join the rest of our Starlink constellation, which is now delivering high-speed, low-latency internet to over 1.5 million people around the globe. Starlink recently went live in Guatemala and Cyprus, with more countries around the world to be announced soon. Coming up in about 15 seconds, we should hear a call out for the Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Both stages are on a nominal trajectory.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there's the call out for the Stage 1 entry burn. Stage 1, which we also call the booster, has ignited engines 1, 5, and 9 to slow it down for atmospheric re-entry.
Stage 1 entry shutdown.
And there's that call out that the entry burn on the first stage has completed. The first stage used to launch our 54 Starlink satellites into space tonight is flying for the 16th time. Now we have one more burn on the first stage, and that is the landing burn, which should be coming up in just over a minute from now. The center engine, E9 specifically, is the engine that relights for landing burn to slow it down before it touches the drone ship.
Stage 1 transonic.
And there's that call out that the first stage is transonic, which means it is traveling near the speed of sound.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 FTS have saved.
Now coming up next, we have a landing burn on the first stage, which should start in about 20 seconds from now.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And there's
Stage 2 is in
confirmation.
terminal guidance.
There's confirmation that the Stage 1 landing burn has started in preparation for touchdown on our drone ship, a short fall of gravitas. Keep an eye out for the landing legs that are scheduled to deploy just moments before the landing.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you have it, Falcon 9 has successfully landed, marking its 16th landing for this booster. And we are now awaiting second engine cutoff coming up in a few seconds.
MVAC shutdown.
Tonight's landing of our first stage marks our 207th overall landing of an orbital class rocket and our 246th mission to date for tonight's mission.
Expected loss of signal, Cape.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there's that call out for nominal orbital insertion. Now, as mentioned earlier in the webcast, tonight's launch marked the last launch of all V1.5 Starlink satellites. A huge thank you and congratulations to the entire Starlink team here at SpaceX. We look forward to launching V2s and V2 minis while further innovating our Starlink sats. And that will bring tonight's webcast to a close for this evening. Be sure to check our social media for confirmation of Starlink satellite deployment. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
INVAC ignition. INVAC shutdown.
Payload separation confirmed.